Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are watching this around the world. Welcome to Falls from Iron. I am Gatesy, your host, and welcome to the tier list. I have got a really, really special guest lined up for you today. Oh, this guy is an absolute master of West Ham YouTube channels. We are just apprentices at the foot of this master of his craft. He's sitting there in the background. He's looking very, very modest, and yeah, there you go. I'm not too sure he's going to be able to get his head through his bedroom door, but I'll bring him in now. Mr. Jake Cox, how are you, sir?
I'm not bad, Casey. I'm not bad. How are you?
Glad to hear it. Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all, my friend. I will get this little bit out of the way now. Please don't forget to like, comment on and share the stream. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and make sure you hit that bell icon for alerts on new content. And as always, we thank you very much indeed for your support. So, Jake, you are here for the West Ham United squad player tier list for season 2022-2023. I'll just give a quick rundown of the basic premise for yourself and also the people watching. Basically, I will be using, here it is. This is the tier list. We have the players along the bottom who are the entire West Ham United first team squad according to Wikipedia. A wonderful resource, it has to be said. We have, for each individual player to go into, 4 individual categories from top to bottom. They are as follows: long-term players, 3+ seasons. The next one down is 1 or 2 seasons. The next one down is players you're not sure about. And then the bottom one, pretty brutal, but it is what it is. See ya. Now, I should stress, this is what you would do with these players if you were the West Ham manager, not necessarily what you believe David Moyes will do with the players, just so that that's clear. So, Jake, any questions?
No, I think we're ready to brutalise some players and get going.
Good. Okay, we're going to go in alphabetical order until we get to one player who I want to leave till last, at which point I will make a slight detour. You probably know where I'm going with this. Okay, first player, Jake. What would you do if you were David Moyes with our Premier League all-time top goal scorer and our only striker at the club, Michail Antonio?
Michail Antonio, he's in his 30s now, and you've got to be realistic when doing something like this. Is he going to be here 3+ seasons?
I
probably not.
Think not.
Yeah, so I think it kind of narrows it down. And for a player like Michail Antonio, you're not going to kick him out, and you're not really not sure. So that only leaves one category, 1 or 2 seasons. I think we've got left with Michail Antonio. Hopefully, in one of the next few transfer windows, we can bring in the a replacement for him. That's a great start, Gates. You've already put him in the wrong.
I have, yes.
In the wrong one.
I have, yes. I got a little bit excited there. Please forgive me.
Yeah.
So what can you do? But so he's in the 1 or 2 seasons category, and to be honest, I can't disagree with your reasoning, Jake. He's not a player. I mean, he's just turned 32, I do believe. So right. Realistically, is he going to be here in another 3 and beyond years? Well, he might be, but I wouldn't bet your mortgage on it. So yeah, I think 1 or 2 seasons is probably the way to go with that one. If I was in charge, that's for sure. But this isn't about me, Jake. This is all about you. So moving on, this is going to be an interesting one. What are your thoughts if you was in David Moyes' shoes on Alphonse Areola?
I know this is our judgment, but it depends whether David Moyes signs him permanently. Let's just say that he does, for argument's sake. We sign Areola permanently in the summer. Let me
rephrase it. Would you sign Areola? And if so, would you have him as a player? Which one of the categories would you put him in beyond Sia, obviously?
Yeah, okay then. So I would sign him permanently. I don't think there's a better option out there for us currently. He's proved himself. Man City in the Carabao Cup, superb save that kept us in the tie against Sevilla a couple of weeks ago. And if we sign him, what is he? Is he 28 years old? Something to the sort?
I think he's 29. I think.
Is he? Fair enough. But
I can find out. I'm pretty sure. Yes, he's 29.
Yeah. So 29 years. Keepers, they go on forever and ever. Amen. So long-term player, 3+ seasons, I think. Gatesy.
Bingo. He's in there. He's the first one in the top shelf. Moving on. Harrison Ashby.
Now, I'm not going to sit on the fence for many of them, but this one I am going to. Let's put him in not sure.
Okay.
Not sure, Gatesy. Because it depends what David Moyes wants to do. Now, what we've heard in the last few days about, Fredericks could be going in the summer. I think Harrison Ashby has shown himself. That Spurs game in the Carabao Cup, I thought he was excellent. He's got a future, but it's just whether he can make that step up. As we say for all youngsters that come through, can he make that step up consistently from the under-23s to the first team? He's had a few injuries this season, which has held him back from making as many appearances in the first team as he would have liked, but he's made a couple.
He got sent off as well, hasn't he? A couple of times. Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, there we go. That adds to that as well. Youngsters, I don't think I'm going to put any of the youngsters that haven't properly broken through yet into the not sure, because you don't know. We all were hyping up Reece Oxford, and then after that Arsenal game in 2015, and then sizzled out, went abroad, and he's there now, and we'd never heard of him, and never heard of him since. So yeah, I think it's fair to put most of these youngsters in the not sure, because you just don't know.
Fair. Okay, so we move on, and this next player is Duke's favourite, Saeed Benrahma.
Oh,
what would you place him in if you were David Moyes?
I don't know. This is the one player when I looked through the squad list earlier on, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think on the spot for this one. It's Saeed Benrahma runs. I think it's a big end of the season for him, if I'm being honest, to see where he is. You can tell I'm trying to drag this out because I'm trying to think of where to put him. He's not in Sia. The not sure is inviting me. The 1 or 2 seasons is inviting me. The top tier isn't. Because I can't see him having a long-term future at West Ham personally. When he came, I was a huge fan of him, and especially this season, I get incredibly frustrated with him because I can see 9 times out of 10 what he's going to do is he's had his magic moments. That was a superb strike at Spurs away. He's got that in his locker, but it all too often just seems like he gets the ball, he runs, he cuts inside, and either it's a crap shot or he shoots and it goes wide, and that seems to happen way too often. And we all think he's the magician and this and that and the other, but is he up to the Premier League, or is he just a very good Championship player? Would you put him in the class of the likes of Alexander Mitrovic, who can't do it in the Premier League but he can score 40 goals in the Championship? That might be the category he's in.
I think that he's been a decent enough player this season. Has he been outstanding? No. There's been moments where I think like the Spurs game, I think he was our best player. I really do. Obviously scored the goal. But the problem with Saeed Benrahma, as far as I'm concerned, and I'd be interested to get your thoughts, is it's just that he lacks the consistency. Now, whether that's down to the player, whether that's down to David Moyes, the way he deploys him, I think it's a little bit of both. But I asked Duke where he thought that the responsibility, the burden of responsibility lay in the main, and he was of the opinion that 75% of it is down to the player. The other 25% of it is down to the manager. It's up to the player to motivate himself and give the very best of he can, both on the training field and on the pitch during a match.
My issue with him is that he has them sparks, but they're just too few and far between. And is that the manager's fault as well? There's got to be a margin of that as well, that he hasn't got full confidence in him. But the consistency when he gets it, and some people forget that Saeed Benrahma in games has gone missing for big portions of the game, but then he does something fantastic, and that's all forgotten for some people.
So where are you going to put him, Jake?
Yeah,
difficult one, isn't it?
It really is a difficult one. Yeah, I'm going to put him in 1 or 2 seasons, I think.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Okay, Saeed Benrahma is in the 1 or 2 seasons category. And just to get this one out there, ladies and gentlemen, it's not hate, it's a legitimate footballing opinion. Okay. So, Jared Bowen, talk to me, Jake. Where would you put him?
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Long-term player, 3+ seasons. He is a we all know, we could sit here all night talking about him. He is one of the examples of a superb pick out of the Championship. Banged in the goals in the Championship this season. He's banged in the goals. He's been effective, assists, and I've said this quite a lot, is that we were superb in that Sevilla game, but we've missed him a lot. And this is nothing against Pablo Fornals when he played on that side, but Pablo Fornals hasn't got that go and run at players like Jared Bowen is, and we've coped well without him, which I'm glad we have. But he just tops that attack off, and he's superb, and he's gone from strength to strength with whether it's the girlfriend, the dad-in-law, whether it's just him, I don't know, but I'm not complaining.
No, definitely. Your hammer of the year this year, is he?
No.
Oh, okay, I'll leave that there. Next player, not quite as effective this season. Whether that's due to tiredness, whether that's due to injuries, just a basic loss of form, I'm not sure. But Vladimir Kufal.
Yeah, I'm going to go straight out and stick him in the 1 or 2 seasons category for me. He hasn't been at the notch he was last year. What that is, I don't know. He's one thing I do know, that he's had Ben Johnson up his backside a lot more this season than he did last season. Whether that's got anything to put for it, I don't know. But I think injuries as well. This injury he's had has put him out and gave Ben Johnson the perfect opportunity that he needed to consolidate himself, which he has done. And I think Soufa's going to find it hard. I did this. I discussed this in a video I did earlier on today. That I think he's going to find it hard to get back in to this lineup again, because Ben Johnson has been incredibly solid in that right back position. 1 or 2 seasons is fair. I think he's in his late 20s, I think. So, he's
29. Yes, he's 30 in August.
Right, yeah. Great month that is, August. But yeah, 1 or 2 seasons I think is fair. Not quite the effect that we would have hoped he had like he did last season, but it swings in roundabouts. We've got Harrison Ashby coming through. We've got Ben Johnson proving himself this season. These things swing in roundabouts,
Yeah, we've also got Ryan Fredericks, don't forget.
No,
we're coming to him. We're coming to him. We'll go with to the other side of the defence. Aaron Cresswell.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about him a minute ago, because I think the senior category is harsh, as in a player, as in we don't want you here, and it's time that you. Well, obviously, it's time that you go. I think it's harsh to put him in that category, but. No, I'm not going to put him in that category because that's harsh. He's been a very good player for West Ham, but this season he's been found out once again, I'm afraid, and a lot of people will disagree with me. I think he's been our weak point this year, if I'm honest, and the reason that we needed to bring in a left back, or need to bring in a left back ASAP, because he's fantastic. He has been fantastic, and there's no doubting that. But he's lost his legs, and that's not his fault. Him and we were there. We saw it a matter of meters away at Spurs away. Gatesy, the fact is that him and Masuaku down that left hand side, they got absolutely grilled, and that wasn't all Masuaku as well. He's just lost his pace, and teams are starting to work out, if you put the diagonal ball over the cross, get over the top, get somebody quick and pacey down that side, they breeze past him like he's not there, and that's an issue. But I'm going to put him in the. I'd more like to say 1 season, not 2 seasons, but I'm going to put him in there 1 or 2 seasons. Okay. I think. Yeah,
fair enough. 1 or 2 seasons. I think that's a fair enough assessment. And given that he's going to be 33 in December, I think 1 or 2 seasons is probably a reasonable expectation of him. In all honesty,
yeah.
We move on. Another defender. We're staying in the back line at the minute. Craig Dawson. Value for money wise, he's been an absolutely fantastic signing for us. You could say, is he sort of like top Premier League quality? No, he's not. But what do you expect for 2-3 million quid?
Well, it's better than Harry Maguire, that's for sure. But
I'm better than Harry Maguire.
Well, that's saying something, isn't it? But
Exactly.
but Craig Dawson, you all know I love the guy, and I'm not going to go stupid and put him in long term because he's not. It's 1 or 2 seasons, and there's no doubt about it with Craig Dawson. He's been superb, and going to have people that are going to disagree and this and that and the other. But yes, he's had his downfall. The one that comes to mind is Newcastle away last year, where he did have a bit of a nightmare, but that's going to happen. And when he's got Kurt Zuma next to him or Angelo Bonner, he's a dream. Issa Diop, the next player. Well, that's another story.
Okay, well, you've mentioned him. Talk to me about Issa Diop. Where would you put him in these 4 categories if you were in the hot seat?
I'm going to get stick for this. I'm not a fan of Issa Diop.
Okay.
A lot of people are and a lot of people aren't. A lot of people, which I couldn't see what he has. And, when we sit here thinking 2-3 years ago, we could have had 80 million quid from him off Man United. I thought that would have been flipping decent now, looking at it. He's had a bit of an up and down season, which isn't entirely his fault because, Craig Dawson's just been Craig Dawson again. He's brought in Kurt Zuma, who's been superb. Ogbonna getting injured has pushed him up the pecking order slightly, but he's still third choice centre back at the moment. And there's got to be an injury for him to get in the side, which is not where a centre back or a player wants to be at the age of 23 and 24, where he should be in his prime. They want to be playing first team football, and I can't see a future, if I'm honest with you, for Issa Diop at West Ham. I can't.
So he's out the door, is he?
Well, no, don't move that cursor yet.
Oh, you're wavering.
I am, yeah. I'm wavering between those bottom 2 categories because I would so like to see it, but I just can't. The indecision, but then again, I sit here and say this, and I'm looking at last season, and then I look at a couple of games he's played recently. Obviously, not that recently, but he's been good. I think it majorly depends on who he's beside Gatesy. If I'm honest with you, if he's beside Dawson, it does none of them favours. It does Diop no favours. It does Dawson no favours. When he's next to Zuma in the Europa League, we've seen it. No problems at all. No problema. But I'm going to put him in the not sure category because I am not sure.
I guess a lot of it hinges upon what version of Angelo Ogbonna do we get back from his injury. Do we get anything like the Angelo Ogbonna before the injury, or do we get a pale shadow of Angelo Ogbonna? In which case, then the importance that Issa Diop has within the club becomes elevated. Unless, of course, David Moyes goes out in the summer and brings in a centre back that is clearly a better option than Issa Diop, and therefore he's even despite Ogbonna perhaps not being the Ogbonna of old, it doesn't actually sort of like change his position within the club. And to be fair, for a player that's 24 years of age, he needs to be playing regular first team football.
Yeah.
So I think that's a fair place to put him. It all depends. The next one, a guy that I think most people thought when we signed Alphonse Areola, they thought that this was going to be Fabianski probably sitting on the bench, possibly for the second half of the season, if not most of it. But that's not been the case. Lucas Fabianski in the Premier League has been pretty much ever present. So what's your thoughts?
Now, I've been on the side of the boat of this where I've backed Fabianski because I've seen many people over this season say, let's get Fabianski out, let's put Areola in. I'm a fan of Areola, but I stay true to my players, and Lucas Fabianski has barely put a foot wrong this season. So in no way, shape or form, until he does that over 2 or 3 games, does Alphonse Areola come inside the lineup, because that's completely unfair against Lucas Fabianski. A new kid comes, if you were at work, Gatesy, and this new kid came on the block and they just decided to sack you, you wouldn't be happy, would you?
I might do something rather naughty to his tools. So.
Precisely, and I think it'd be incredibly unfair this season the way he's done and the consistent he's been. And yes, we know his downfalls, his distribution, sometimes commanding his area isn't fantastic, but he has barely put a foot wrong this season, and he goes in the 1 or 2 seasons category purely because he's been a good servant to West Ham, and he consistently plays very well for West Ham and is keeping a very good keeper in Alphonse Areola out of the Premier League side, which is not an easy thing to do, I think.
No, that's a fair assessment. The next player, El Fornicador, Pablo Fornals, who drinks Estrella and eats paella by all accounts.
And we are on the road to Seville. Doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Because we're now going to Seville, not going to Sevilla. Because we're going to Seville, because we're not going to play Sevilla. We're going to Seville, so it doesn't. The song, and you can't say Leon.
Crashes and burns, doesn't it?
I know. He eats paella. He drinks Estrella. We're going to Leon. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it?
España.
Or if we draw Barcelona in the next round to get through, he eats paella, he drinks Estrella. We're going to Barcelona.
Still not sure on that.
Yeah. Anyway,
needs a bit of work.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Back to the drawing board. Pablo Fornals. If you would have asked me this question at the start of the season, I think the outcome might have been very different. Before this season, I could see the work rate. I couldn't see much else. He's added the goals, the assists, the end quality in the final third to his game this season. Superb. Long-term player, Gatesy, 3+ seasons for me. He's proven himself this season, and not because of the fact of his little videos taking his kids out to the pitch and singing "Come On You Irons" and singing "West Ham are massive" everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, and all of that. He's superb. Love the guy. You can tell his heart is now claret and blue. That's for sure.
Yeah, when I did this with Duke the other day, and I said to him, I said that I'm not comparing him to this player in terms of style, in terms of stature, or anything else, other than he's not a dyed-in-the-wool East Ender or from Essex, and he knows the club historically. But Alvin Martin was another one, came from Liverpool and embraced the club. The club embraced him. The fans embraced him. And he got what it meant to the fans to play for West Ham and to be a West Ham fan and everything about the club. And I just think that Pablo Fornals is a similar sort of ilk.
Yeah, I think so, to be honest. Pablo Fornals is just a player that everybody has seemed to know and love, especially this year more than last year because of what he's done, and he's just gone from strength to strength. And I don't think there's any doubting that. And linking it into those players, I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Fair. The next player, Ryan Fredericks.
CYA in text words is see ya. I'm afraid the first player that's going into the luxurious category is that I'm going to push you out of the door. Yeah, Ryan Fredericks. I've been a player that has liked him and backed him, and I certainly didn't. That's it. The one thing that's annoyed me about him this year was Man United away, and not many people saw it. As the fact is that this was 0-0 at this stage in the last 2 minutes of the game, and he was brought on to defend. And I know he doesn't like defending, but he came barging down, lost the ball. They lobbed the ball over the box. D puts the ball in. Rashford scores, and going back down south with nothing, thinking what the has gone on there. It's just become a defensive calamity. He's got the pace, and I like him with 15 minutes to go to put him on the right wing, not at right back. Yeah, we've got better right backs coming through, and I think his time is up. If he hasn't got that long left in his career, go down to the Championship, play some first team football. I think that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of look at Ryan Fredericks, and I mean, he's 29 as we speak, so he's going to be 30 in October. I mean, obviously he was free signing, and he's got rapid pace and all the rest of it, but he's just injured all the time. Just keeps getting injured.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I think that his time has come, and it's time to wave him a cheery goodbye. That's my opinion, same as you, Jake. So. But I should probably keep my opinions to myself, because when I do this, everyone's going to know what my opinions are, because I'll have let little nuggets out here and there, and everyone will go, we're not really interested in that one because we know what he's going to do. So there you go. Another right back. We seem to have a real clutch of right backs at the club. Do. Ben Johnson. Is he a right back?
Yes, he is a right back, and he's nothing different, Gatesy. Nothing different at all. Not a left back. Not a centre back? No.
Not a central mid?
Just don't start. Not a right winger, not a striker, not naming any names. Right
goalkeeper?
Back, striker.
Should we put him in goal?
No, we should not put him in goal. Right back and nowhere else. Left back just messes him up completely.
Okay, boss.
Yes, okay, boss. But long-term player, 3+ seasons. We know there's been contract stalls and we haven't quite been able to get that long-term contract over the line. Hopefully that can be done this summer. But yeah, superb player. He's gone from strength to strength this year, and just that couple of amendments to his game and that will come in time. As he gets older, as he matures as a player. That final ball into the box, I think, needs work, and it will. It will get better, and let's hope sooner rather than later, because we've got a very, very good player there coming out of our academy of football.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's defensively, he's absolutely top draw as far as I'm concerned. I do think that you touched on it there. Offensively, he's not quite at the level of a Kyle Walker, a Kieran Trippier, a Trent Alexander-Arnold, players of that ilk that play at right back. He's not at that level going forwards. He needs to add that to his game, and if and when he does, he then possibly could put himself in the conversation of England squads. But we'll see. There's obviously a lot of.
Well, he's already making his way through. He's made his first under-21 England appearance, and that'll only get better. That'll only go up to the first team if he keeps going the way he is, and he's going to go from strength to strength. And we had him first.
Yeah. So, Mr. Moyes, if you're watching this, Jake says sign him up. Okay. So, saying about signing him up, well, we signed this guy up on loan from Spartak Moscow, Czech international, teammate of Thomas Souček and Vladimir Kufal. Barely had a kick, if we're being completely honest. What say you about Alex Král?
The only thing I wouldn't know is what Král's done to Moyes' daughter, because he's obviously done something, because it's not right.
Well, everybody else has.
Yeah, something's not right there. I'm not quite sure what it is, but he split the fan base because of a section have called him donkey, a section have called him, let's give this geezer a chance, and we haven't done that, and that's unfair to him. And I'm not quite sure. The Kidderminster game doesn't do him justice. I don't think he didn't do any player justice. I don't think you can judge a player off of that Kidderminster game, because it's a parallel universe, a complete parallel universe, that game, and you can't make a comparison between pretty much any Premier League game or any game that isn't an FA Cup game to that Kidderminster game, because everything about that, but the pitch and everything. But the one game he did play against Man United in the Cup, he did okay. The Kidderminster game, he was awful. He was hooked off at half-time, but you can't really say anything about that. And yeah, he will go. I don't think we'll sign him up because just David Moyes. David Moyes has had plenty of opportunities to play in this year. One that comes to mind is Watford away. Declan Rice was out with his one game yellow card suspension. He puts Mark Noble in. Mark Noble plays well, but Alex Král remains on that bench, and that told me something is really, really not right there. And he's on that first flight back to the Czech Republic or wherever, I think. So yes,
it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, on the limited times, I think he's played 7 games, I believe, in all competitions.
Is it that much?
So far, I think it's 7. I'll tell you what, bear with me, and with the wonder of Wikipedia, no, 6. 6. He's had one in the Premier League. He's had 1 in the FA Cup.
But that's not starts, though, is it? That's just coming.
No, these are just appearances. Yeah. 1 in the League Cup, and then 3 in the Europa League. Right, so 6 in total, according to this. It
just hasn't worked.
It's difficult to judge a player in terms of his time on the pitch. I mean, yes, the Kidderminster game. Okay, that's 1 game out of the 6 that you could pin on him and say, well, that wasn't exactly his finest hour, but there was an awful lot of players that didn't play well. To be fair, I don't think singling him out is really fair, but obviously David Moyes sees this guy in training day in, day out, and as you say, the Watford game, perfect opportunity to stick Alex Král in, and he didn't do it. He put in a soon to be retired Mark Noble, who, to be fair, had a decent game, scored a goal. But that probably told you there and then that Alex Král is probably not in David Moyes' long-term plans.
Well, exactly. Yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing that's going to happen to that, and he's going to go back to wherever when it comes.
Now, I have to give you a warning with this next player, okay? Because you need to be careful, because you know Happy Hammerette, and she absolutely idolises this guy. So be warned, because if you don't put him where she thinks you ought to, you might get a few dodgy text messages and sort of threats.
Oh, I know Gatesy. Honestly, I've had Liverpool away. I had an earful of it. She didn't stop in this pub. She didn't stop talking about Lanzini. Lanzini and Anton. That's it.
Yeah. So be careful. But Manuel Lanzini.
Yeah, he's really come back into himself this year, hasn't he? He's been superb. We didn't ever think we'd see the Manuel Lanzini we knew and love after his ACL when he's come back, and he's found a new lease of life this year, and he's been superb. And for whenever people see this, it has come out tonight about an unfortunate event that he has been in today, some sort of car crash. We think and we hope he is okay at this moment in time. So fingers crossed.
I believe he is. Yeah. The reports I heard said he walked away pretty much unscathed.
Yeah,
fortunately.
Definitely. So yeah, that's good. That's good. But he's not a long-term player, is he? He's a 1 or 2 seasons player, and he's the definition of that category, I think, because how old is he now, Gates? He's got to be
29, I believe.
29, yeah, something like that.
Let me just check. He turns 30 next February.
Well, exactly. So he's only just turned 29 then. So, is what it is. 1 or 2 seasons, Bob Schrenkel.
Yeah, and he'll probably go back. He's a River Plate boy, so I think he's got ambitions of going back there before he finishes career. So talking about careers coming to a conclusion, David Martin, 4th choice goalkeeper, son of a club legend. But what say you?
Yeah, see ya, but not quite see ya. I think
it's just purely as a player. Obviously.
As a player, see ya. Yeah. I think. Listen, he had his magical game, Chelsea away a few years ago with his dad and the crowd. And listen, if it wasn't for our good friend Roberto, he would have never got that opportunity. So he's got our lovely acquaintance Roberto to thank for that. But in all seriousness, listen, he's got 3 keepers in front of him, hasn't he? And there's no change in that in his current moment in time. And see ya. And I'd like to see him put as a goalkeeper coach in some way, shape or form, in my opinion, to the young under 23s, under 21, under 18 keepers coming through our academy. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. So basically what we're saying is that David Martin really needs to pick up the phone to Roberto and say, thank you very much for being so utterly crap.
Those exact words.
Yes, and then just hang the phone up.
Yeah, thanks for being absolutely crap, because I got my fairy tale moment in front of my dad. So yeah, I'll send you a cheque and it'll have £1.50 in it.
Yeah, in pesetas.
Yeah.
You probably don't know what peseta. It's what they had in Spain before the Euro came in. So I'm showing my age there. So
yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Arthur Masuaku.
Oh well, he's better than Lukaku. Oh,
is he really?
He always gives the ball away. See ya. Yeah, this guy's reign's come to an end, I'm afraid. He's big. We all laugh about him, don't we, King Arthur and all this. And to be fair, he's earned us 2 points this year. Could those 2 points be crucial? We'll have to wait and see come the end of the season. This probably would happen for when you're seeing this. But, he scored that magical goal, sent Mendy flying, made him look like an absolute mug, which made me smile. So, he's been all right. He's been Arthur. He's cost us games. He's won us games. And that's Arthur Masuaku. See ya, mate.
Yeah, I mean, you say about that goal, and I'm not entirely convinced. I mean, he said it wasn't a shot; it was a cross.
No, it wasn't.
So he was as surprised as anybody when it hit the back of the net.
That makes it more fun.
He earned us 2 points. Well, even a stopped clock is right twice a day, Jake. That's all I'm going to say. So. Okay. I am going to deviate at this point. I'm going to take a little bit of a detour because I'm going to leave this fella here until last because I think he deserves to be left till last out of respect. So we're going to go from the other direction, Jake, and we're going to come to Kurt Zuma, who's probably not on the Christmas card list of the RSPCA. Is he on your Christmas card list?
No, listen, I'm not talking about cats. I can't be bothered. Superb player on the pitch. Long term, he's 26 years old. Long term, 3+ seasons. When you pay the money, you get the mustard, and that's what we've got. Proven Premier League quality centre back, and that's exactly what he's been. The malarkey has actually made him a better player, except from that Spurs game, which was a one-off, I'm sure, and that's because we played a back five, and none of our centre-backs know how to play in a back five, so God knows why we played in a back five. But anyway, you'll annoy me. But yeah, he's been superb. He's a very good centre-back, and he's a very good partner to whoever else is next to him, whether it's Dawson, Diop, or Bonner, whoever it is. He fits in well with any of them, in my opinion. I think he prefers to be next to either Dawson or Ogbonna, but he'll go with it. He's been very good, and when you pay the money, as I said, you get quality, and that's exactly what we've got in Kurt Zuma.
Fair enough. Now, this next player, Jake, it has to be said. I've heard the words come out of your mouth when associated with Andrei Yarmolenko. One-legged Ukrainian donkey, wasn't it? But he hasn't done too bad the last couple of games that we played as we record this, obviously the Seville game, the Aston Villa game. Has that perhaps softened your stance on the one-legged Ukrainian donkey, or are you still waving him a cheery bye?
Listen, Gatesy, I'm sure you've said words to those effects on here as well.
I've said an awful lot worse.
Well, there you go then. So, yeah. This is a difficult one, I think, because I don't know. I'd like to answer this question a month down the line or 2 months down the line when this season's done to see whether he makes any more of an impact. Currently, right now, I mean, it's just rejuvenated him. Whatever has just gave him that spur to just, I don't know, get on with it, and he's done flipping well. I'm going to go not sure, Gatesy, because quite frankly, I don't want to cause controversy, and I don't know, and that's why I'm putting him in the not sure category.
I wonder, and I'm not trying to make light of the situation in his home country. I do wonder whether, in a funny sort of way, because of the situation in his home country, has football almost become a release for him from his home life, his personal life, his family life. And he's just sort of like that it's like a way of sort of switching off from it just for 90 minutes or so. I don't know. I don't know. That was
like kind of what I was indirectly referencing there, as a fact is that I think it's probably helped him, and the support he's got from the fans, I'm sure he's incredibly grateful for, and the interviews he's done. He doesn't speak great English, but you can see it, when you watch his post-match interviews for the Villa and Sevilla game, it means a lot to him, and I'd like to put him in 1 or 2 seasons, but it's only 2 games, Gatesy, and you can't lift yourself off too much. It's 2 games.
Fair. I would say, though, that his English is an awful lot better than my Ukrainian. Anyway.
Exactly.
Moving on, we're staying in Eastern Europe. Nikola Vlasic.
And we're staying in the not sure category because I don't know. This is a player that we almost bought in as a panic buy, whether it was a Sullivan buy or a David Moyes buy. I don't think we will ever know. But he hasn't been given bundles of opportunity, but then again he hasn't really taken the opportunities that he's got, of like them being few and far between, in my opinion. There's a player there, but it just hasn't quite came out in England yet. Will it ever come out? I don't know. Let's put him in the not sure category for me.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable assessment, Jake. Thomas Souček's next, the Hammer of the Year incumbent, as we record this.
This is difficult because he's in between those top 2 tiers, because this year he definitely hasn't been as good as he was last year, but I think a factor of that is that Declan Rice and Thomas Souček have switched positions, and now in the last couple of weeks when we're recording this, they've almost switched back. Declan Rice is sitting, Thomas Souček's going forward. He's starting to score a couple more goals, and he's starting to look like a better overall player. Yeah, solid long-term player, 3+ seasons. He's been excellent, and in that almost not number 10 role, but pushed up more in like the top of a diamond, I suppose you could call it. It's not really a diamond because there's only 2 of them. Yeah, he's playing higher up, and that works for him. And you know, when he does play there, he plays well.
Okay, so we come to his double pivot partner, if you will, England's Declan Rice.
Well, I feel like you've got to just make another tier for this geezer, Gatesy, if I'm honest with you. Long-term player, 6-10+ seasons if he wants to. You know, he can stay here until he's got his Zuma frame out for all I care. Superb player, and you know, we can talk about him all night, and quite frankly, I wouldn't mind doing that. He's been superb, and he will continue to be superb. He will one day put on that England captain's armband sooner rather than later, I am sure. Yeah, you can't say much more. I mean, if anybody puts him in any other tier, then they need to give that head a good old wobble.
Oh, well, you're going to have to watch the rest of the series when it all comes out, mate, because you might have a shock on one of them. Anyway, I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to leave that one there. But what I will say, no. But I'm going to stay with Declan Rice because you said you talk about him all day. Obviously, this is where you would put him if you was the manager going into next season, and that's completely correct. You should be looking at your best player and saying, I want to keep him for 3+ seasons. Realistically, though, taking just your West Ham hat off for a moment and as a general football fan, do you think we're going to keep him for 3+ seasons?
No, I don't think we are, to be honest with you, and I don't think West Ham's lack of transfer and lack of intention is helping this situation in any way, shape, or form. Listen, he's loving these European nights, and the longer we can keep these nights going on for, the better. And that Thursday night against Sevilla, that's probably put his mind to rest for a good couple of months as a West Ham player. Even if anything was coming on his mind, you know, he's gone to England in the last week, and he's probably gone there with his, you know, he went. You've seen the pictures with his West Ham store bag, yeah, and he's got no shame in that, because you see the end, he's singing Bubbles when we beat Sevilla. He loves West Ham, but at the end of the day, we keep saying it, is that he deserves to be in Champions League. He deserves to be winning trophies, and I don't think any West Ham fan should stand in his way when he feels right and does it in the right way for him to move on and do that exact thing. I don't want to see what happens with Villa fans, with Jack Grealish. I think that's just completely uncalled for, and I hope that doesn't happen with Declan Rice for West Ham. As long as the transfer and everything is done in the correct and right way, I think we've just got to go, you know what, Dec, you are a world-class footballer, and we're not going to stand your way. Superb.
Again, you say in the right way. I mean, I go back, I'm old enough to remember both Rio Ferdinand and Frank Lampard moving on. One transfer, I think, was done in the right way and one wasn't. And one of those players, all right, you could say Rio Ferdinand maybe in recent years has gone down in the estimation of a lot of West Ham fans. But up to that point, I think a lot of West Ham fans had a bit of a soft spot and respect for Rio Ferdinand, whereas Frank Lampard never enjoyed that particular luxury. Again, I'm going to keep you in the guise of David Moyes, possibly also David Sullivan as well, though, Jake. Declan Rice. I am a buying club chairman, CEO, whatever. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester City, one of the real heavy hitters of European football.
Yeah.
120 million quid, Jake.
No.
Okay. 130.
No.
140.
No.
Can I tempt you with 150 million pounds, Jake?
Not quite.
Can I tempt you with 155 million?
A little bit more.
157.5?
160 million.
Ooh.
Because I think, listen, hear me out. £160 million nobody will pay for Declan Rice, but that's what I want for Declan Rice, because that gives you over £150 million, and that leaves a little bit of margin for error for when we get these players in and they're absolute crap. Because there's no doubt we're going to sign players with this money that are absolute rubbish. There's no doubting
like
it.
What happened when Rio moved on.
Well, I don't remember that, but I'm sure.
I do.
Well, exactly. I'm sure that's exactly what happened. That gives us a barrier. That gives us, that then, if that comes in and we decline that, I think we then become Declan Rice FC, not West Ham United Football Club, in my opinion. £160 million for a player is not something that you decline, and they would. To be fair, £120 million, Golden Sullivan will probably accept, because they'll go, woo, money! And, the next thing we'll know, we'll be stuck with Souček and flipping whoever in midfield with, just a load of money rotting away in a bank account somewhere. But yeah, 120 million will probably be the maximum that any club will pay for him, in my opinion. But what he's worth to us is what it is.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to move on now. I've grilled you enough about Declan Rice. One thing I will say before we do move on, like I say, you are going to have to watch the tier list series in its entirety, because there is someone that doesn't quite agree with your narrative. But you're going to have
I'll tell you what. Do we need to pay a visit to Duke's pub?
I'm saying nothing, because it may or may not have been Duke that said that. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, Darren Randolph. That's 2 goalkeepers you're losing. Ooh.
Yeah, scrap that. 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah.
Ooh.
And the reason I'm saying that is because I don't know whether we're going to keep Areola on or not. All of a sudden, if we get rid of Randolph and we don't sign Areola, that leaves us with 2 goalkeepers, one of them being Martin. We're then going to have to sign 1 or 2 goalkeepers on top of the left back, centre midfielder, a couple of strikers we need, and whatever else David Moyes sees fit, which is just adding to what we need to get, and to probably what we're not going to get. 1 or 2 seasons, I think, until we get 2 young goalkeepers come through and see fit to come through. I don't think we let go Fabianski and Randolph until we see a clear picture and a clear pathway with young goalkeepers for me.
Okay, fair enough. The next one could be quite difficult to answer as we record this.
Yeah.
By the time this goes out, Angelo Ogbonna may well have come back into the first team and either looked like a superstar or looked a bit of a dud. But as we record this, I appreciate that this might be difficult. He is on the comeback trail, to use the phrase that David Moyes puts out. He's on the grass, which I don't think is a reference to him smoking marijuana, or at least I hope not. But what say you? What's your gut feeling on Angelo Ogbonna? My
gut feeling is 1 or 2 seasons. 1 or 2 seasons for Angelo Ogbonna, in my opinion. Sorry, I just got sidetracked. I just seen the World Cup 2022 draw pots. Flipping heck. Anyway, just seen that and looked down and went France, Argentina, Belgium, Brazil, Spain, Portugal. Oh, brilliant. We're going to have a...
Why don't they just use like a national lottery machine? I don't understand it. I know the reason why. They would turn around and say, it's because of the seeding. And if you did it all at random, then you might have a group of Germany, Brazil, Argentina and England. But so what?
Well, I mean, I've just looked at it and went, this is going to be a fun Christmas, isn't it? Qatar, Brazil, Belgium, France, Argentina, England, Spain, Portugal. You couldn't have got a harder group if you tried, could you? Anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked there.
We got sidetracked. So Angelo Ogbonna's gone 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah, obviously it depends on what state he comes back in, but I'd possibly say regardless to an extent, I think he's here for another good season. More to the 1 than the 2, I think, because he's getting into his 30s now, I think, 33 or something like that. So,
Angelo Ogbonna, at the time of recording this, is 33 years of age.
33,
he turns 34 in May.
Right, so not too far away then. So he's pushing 34. Yeah, 1 or 2 seasons I think is quite generous. So that's what I'm going to stick with.
Okay, this is the main event. It has to be. Mark James Noble, club captain, club legend. As we record this, he has 7 games left in the Premier League.
7 weeks left as a West Ham United player.
So we know that he's on the final straight. We know that. So this isn't the question of...
Let me ask you this first, though, Gatesy. Let me ask you this.
Yep.
Do you think that he might do a Jeff Stelling and do one more season?
Well, that was kind of where I was going. If you were David Moyes, would you be minded to put your arm around Mark Noble and say, you could do another year sitting on the bench, coming off in games last 20 minutes, controlling the tempo of the game, scoring the odd penalty, playing in League Cup games, mentoring the younger players? You could do that for another 12 months, couldn't you, Mark? Or would you be turning around and saying, your time's done, mate?
Because this is hard from an emotional level and a footballing head-on. 11 times out of 10, I would say your first option as an emotional, because Mark, it's just Mark. No, you don't need to say anything, do you? And I think he could do it for another 12 months. And to be fair, let's not lie. A couple of games he's come on, he's had that bit of zip this year, hasn't he? He has, and he's come in and he's been all right. And yeah, I think he can do it for another year, and a little bit of that is because I don't want to see him go in 7 weeks at the time of recording. But I also think that it could do David Moyes a favour, and the fact is that that's possibly one more position that he doesn't need to strengthen in as much as maybe needed if Mark Noble retires at the end of the season. Will he do a Jeff Stelling and go, no?
Possible. All things are possible.
But if he doesn't, I hope this board do one thing and give him the flipping send-off he deserves.
How likely do you think it will be? Let me paint a little picture for you. So it's the last home game of the season against Manchester City. And by the time this goes out, this game has probably already been played. Mark Noble starts that particular game. Last home game of the season against Man City. And in the 16th minute, he's substituted to a guard of honour by both teams. What are the chances? That's what John Terry did. Not in the 16th minute, but the 26th. But it was his shirt number, so...
Well, the scenarios we've got if he does retire is either he comes on for the last 20 minutes or he starts and he comes off for Declan Rice on the 16th minute for a guard of honour from both teams. I don't think there'd be a dry eye in that house when that happens, obviously apart from the 3,000 Man City fans. I think deep down the hardcore Cockneys will find it hard. Everybody will find it hard, I think. Because a lot of people have become emotionally attached. That sounds a bit weird to Mark Noble, but he is Mr. West Ham. He knows us. He understands us, and perhaps what he said in that tweet 2 years ago about Grady Diangana, whether that was right or not, whether that was the right thing to do, he's got our back. And we know that, and just everything that he's done for the club. And, he gets memed for the last game at the Bowen. He said, this club ain't run like a circus no more, and look where we are with our owners. But that guy is Mr. West Ham, and there won't be a dry eye in that house when he leaves. And it's going to be a hard day for us all, and especially, I'm sure, for Mark Noble. I'm sure he's dreading the day.
I mean, you referenced the tweet when Grady was sold, where he obviously expressed his displeasure at the sale of Grady Diangana, which has to be said, hindsight being perfect vision, he's not really pulled up any trees at West Brom, so actually it probably was the right move in for the club. I think that tweet was Mark Noble, the West Ham fan, not Mark Noble, the club captain, ambassador, whatever role you want to sort of like attribute him to. That was Mark Noble, the fan. He was one of us at that moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm just, so here it is. So this is word for word. As captain of this football club, I'm gutted, angry and sad that Grady's left. Great kid with a great future.
Yeah.
That was from a fan, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So you would perhaps try and convince him to stay for another season?
I'd be inclined to, yes. I don't know whether that's my emotions overpowering me, but yes.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, go on, Gatesy.
Stick him in. He's staying for another 12 months. He can come on as a sub here and there. It's fine. It's Mark Noble. We don't mind.
Exactly, we don't mind. And what perfect way to talk about Martin Noble when I can hear that EastEnders theme tune going on in the background, thinking Mum's downstairs watching that now, and I hope she's recording it because I want to watch it in a minute.
Oh dear, you're an EastEnders fan, are you?
But, it's got a bit spicy at the moment, got to admit.
I've got no idea. No idea at all. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to go full screen and I'm just going to run through this really quickly. So top tier players by Jake Moyes. So long-term players, 3+ seasons. We've got Areola, Bowen, Fornells, Johnson, Zuma, Soucek and Rice. 1 or 2 seasons, Antonio, Benrahma, Kufal, Cresswell, Dawson, Fabianski, Lanzini, Randolph, Ogbonna, and Noble. Not sure. Ashby, Diop, Yarmolenko, and Vlasic, and Sia, Fredericks, Král, Martin, and Masuaku. A job well done, Jake. It has to be said.
I think it's all right. I think there's elements of it that people will disagree with, but it is what it is, isn't it?
It is what it is. Well, Jake, I would like to thank you sincerely for joining us on the channel. As always, when you join us, it's a real pleasure to be in your company.
No, thank you very much for having me on. It has thoroughly enjoyed my evening because I've got nothing else to do.
Oh, thanks.
That's all right. I'm only joking. No, I love to have a chat with you, Gatesy, and yeah.
Likewise.
Nice to put the world to right, eh?
Do you want to read the banner?
Please don't forget to comment on, and share the stream. So subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for alerts on new content. Thanks for your support. Can I do it my way now?
Please do.
Drop a like on the video, subscribe to /mine if you are new. I'll say check out our channel sponsors then, but that's what I do, not you. But
you can give them a shout out, I don't mind.
Like, comment, subscribe and share. Here on /mine, it's the place to be where once or twice a week Gatesy and Duke sit here for 2 hours rambling on about the last game or the game to come, and end up talking about everything but the game for 20 minutes and talk about the game for Britain and talk about anything but the game for another
our favourite
hour.
Pizzas. Things like that.
Eat, sleep, stream, repeat.
Something like that. Jake, what are we? No swearing.
I'll let Andy say the first bit. Massivo.
That'll do me, my friend. Come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons. Cheers, guys.